Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is a topic that comes up quite a bit on this channel and in the GS-F and RC-F community in general, and that of course is theft prevention. So many of these cars have been stolen in California, specifically the Bay Area, and throughout a couple other cities in the United States, but mostly California. And obviously the thieves there have figured out how to start these, and so I'm going to go into detail, not as much to show you how they're actually doing it, but the concept behind it and how to prevent it. So we've got 4 or 5 different ways that we're going to do it to this car. The most in-depth part involves removing the front bumper, and so we will of course do that. I do have another video that I'm filming on the same day that will show you how to remove the bumper. That's a separate video. For the purposes of saving time, I'm not going to show you how that's done. Just look at the other video if you want to learn how to remove the front bumper. I'll kind of summarize what we're going to do. First and foremost is removing the front bumper gives you access to underneath the headlights, which are operated through the Canbus. So what the thieves will do, they will pry back the bumper, they will gain access to the bottom of the headlight, unplug it, plug in what they need to plug in with their device, and it basically bypasses the immobilizer for the car and it lets them start it. And so in order to prevent or at least slow them down, there is a company that makes Canbus guards for the headlights, specifically for any of the Lexus GS models 2016 and up that have the triple LED headlights. So the GS-F, that's all of them. For the GS350, that's most of the ones that are all-wheel drive, or the non-all-wheel drive ones that had the optional triple beams, which were very expensive, so not a whole lot of them had those. So additional measures that we're going to take is there is a fuel pump relay, and you can use it as a fuel pump relay or a starter relay that is remote driven as a kill switch. And so basically, or should I say remote activated, within 30 seconds of turning the car off, it will automatically arm itself and basically render itself useless unless you have the key fob to basically reactivate it and let the car, either the fuel pump start or the starter start, or you can do both. But in this instance, we're only going to do one, but there is a company in Oklahoma that sells a kit that's plug and play for the GS and of course the RC-F and several other Lexus models. This isn't specific to the GS-F, but that's what we're going to be doing it on. A couple other measures we're going to do. You've seen that the way that they're gaining access to these cars is through the OBD2 port. So you can of course get a blocker which uses a key to block the OBD2 port. So the only way they're going to have access to that is if they physically ruin the OBD2 port. So we're going to apply that. Pretty inexpensive, about $40. The other thing we're going to do is put an actual fake OBD2 port in it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to tie the original one, the active one, up underneath the dash. And so it'll be accessible to us. We know where it is when we're ready to use it. But if somebody were to plug a key programmer or something into the OBD2 port, basically they would just get power. And I've seen some Reddit threads and things where people will actually run power to both sides so it will fry the scanner. That's kind of dangerous because if you take it to a dealer or an independent mechanic or something to get serviced, they plug that in, you're accidentally frying their scanner because it's something that you did. Don't recommend doing that, but there is that option because what if you forget to tell them or something like that. But anyway, so we'll have a fake OBD2 port. We will block the original OBD2 port. We will have a remote kill switch for either the fuel pump relay or the starter or both, whichever you choose. We'll have the Canbus blocker. And basically those are 4 very good ways to help prevent theft. And you can also, there's some aftermarket companies out there that actually offer remote kill switches where it's plugged in through the aftermarket stereo or something like that. You can use the cruise control up or down. You have a certain pattern you have to do to activate or deactivate it. That's another option. I'm not doing that on this one, but that is a 5th option out there as well. Another option you have is using the factory key fob. You can actually disable that from transmitting and receiving any radio data from the car. The reason you'd want to do that is because one of the ways that the thieves are accessing these cars is using, it's called a relay attack. I'm sure you've heard that before. And basically they have a key programmer, and I'm going to show you guys how easy it is and why they can get into these cars within 30 seconds. I have a key programmer, and I'm going to show you at the end of the video how quick they can do it. And I'm by no means an expert with it, but you can program a key for this car in less than a minute, and literally the gone in 60 seconds applies here. And so this is why it's so important to have these theft prevention measures. But the final option there with the factory key fob, they're using a relay attack. There's things like the Flipper Zero, there's Autel, like all of these key programmers, they are basically intercepting that signal that's getting from the key that the car's sending out or looking to receive and that the key is sending. And so they are trying to intercept that or duplicate it and then bring it closer to the car, and the car recognizes it as a key and they're in and they're gone. If you are in a theft prone area, that's just another thing you can do to help prevent. It's a little bit of an inconvenience for you, but it's at the end of the day, they may be able to break into your car, but they're not going to steal your car. And so worst case, you have some damage or some things stolen out of the inside of your car, but your car's still there. So that's the important part. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in and we'll show you how everything goes. So first up is the headlight Canbus shields by MillerCAT. These can be had for about $40 through their website, free shipping, at least in the United States. Part TOY-090, which is basically all Lexus and Toyota vehicles that have this type of ECU. Simple instructions comes with special security bits, well, a security bit and special security hardware. And so that's what we're after right there. Thieves will pull the bumper back and they gain access to it very easily. So what this will do at the very least is slow them down. It's made of 304 stainless steel, pretty thick, and as simple as once you have the bumper removed, removing the two original screws, don't even have to unplug anything, and put the cover in place. One thing I didn't like, at least specific to the GS-F, is the bracket on the side where the headlight harness goes. You can see I tried to put some additional wiring loom around it, but it's pulling on the actual harness, and I didn't like that. So I think over time it would cause vibration and actually wear into the harness. So what I ended up doing is the forward-facing part of the bracket, I originally tried to bend it, but then as it's bent down, it's still in the way of the bumper. So I ended up like there, trimming it and leaving the wiring loom. And repeat for the other side, and now we'll move on. So one of the things that we're going to prevent is access to the OBD2 port. And the reason for that is there are several items out there, several pieces of equipment out there that can program a key without needing the actual keys as long as they have access to the OBD2 port. And I'm not going to show you how it's done, but I do have this because I am able to program other keys. So the company here, Autel, they've made this key programmer for quite some time. And specific to Toyota and Lexus, they had what was called an AKL condition, which is all keys lost, and it would create an emergency start key. Now, it wouldn't program that key, but it would basically fool the car into thinking this was a key as long as you had access to the OBD2 port. Last summer, in August of 2024, they removed that because there were a lot of instances of cars getting stolen because of this. There are still other programmers out there that offer this, and it's unfortunate because it really needs to be restricted to professional use only, things like that. But thieves had access to this. They could get online, go buy it, and they learn how to steal a car. Two ways you can go about this. You can plug it into the original OBD2 port, and it only provides power to that port, to that fake port. So what that'll do is if somebody tries to program or put something in your OBD2 port, it will show that it's active, but it won't actually read any data or write any data. So that's the important part. Now, if you use a fake OBD2 port, you can just leave it unplugged and then have the original one tucked up behind the dash and also have a lock on it. So it is some inconvenience to you if you have to have access to it. It takes a couple extra minutes to gain access, but in the instance of thieves, they need quick access. They're not going to spend a whole lot of time trying to do it. And by having an OBD2 lock on the port, you physically would have to destroy the port in order to gain access to the pins or whatever they need for the scanners, things like that. We'll go ahead and install that, and I'll show you your two options there. But the fake OBD2 port is probably the better option because it's going to slow them down even more. They're going to think, oh, what's going on? Why is this not reading? They're not going to dive into it very quickly unless they have a ton of time, which in most instances they don't. You can get this fake OBD2 port. You can get it on eBay. That's where I found it. It came from overseas, I think from Poland or something like that. And they're like $20, $30. And they actually have one that's even more expensive that has a little alarm in it. So if you plug something into it and unplug it, it sounds an alarm. And you can put that alarm outside the car. There's lots of different options there if you wanted to take it a step further. And I think those are around $100. This particular device, it can no longer start Toyota and Lexus vehicles. But as I said, if they have an older version and they didn't update it, they can still do this. And so there's value in some of these older ones. This one I just purchased for the purposes of this video, and they're about $400, but you can duplicate existing keys. As long as you have one key, you can program a second or a third or fourth or whatever you need, which is the original intention for these. It's basically, instead of going to the dealer and paying them several $100s, you can go buy a key yourself for $150 and you can program it yourself instead of paying them $400+ to program it, which is really 5 minutes worth of work. So the first thing you need to do is find your OBD2 port, and it is on the driver's side underneath the dash. It's this black port that you see right here. You're going to remove 3 screws underneath the dash on this bottom piece, and there's 2 little clips that you just sort of push and then pull straight down. Push on the clips, pull straight down. And there you have access. There is your OBD2 port, the back side of it. So you're going to look at the other side, and there's 2 little pins on each side that are holding it in. You just need to push those in. You can do it by hand or with a small screwdriver, and it will pop out. So there you go. Now you're going to install your OBD2 port, your dummy OBD2 port, install one end of it into your real one, and then put the fake one in the spot underneath the dash where you would normally plug your scanner in. Now, this prevents access to your OBD2 port to the real one. However, you can also lock the fake one, or you can unplug it underneath and lock the real one, however you want to approach it. This step does take a little bit more time if you do need access to your OBD2 port. So you can do one, the other, or both, but here is the lock. And so you take the lock, and in my instance, I'm going to lock the original for the example here. And all it is, it's a cover, and then there's another piece that goes on top of it that clamps down to the actual port itself, and then it has a security bit that screws it in place. So the only way you could access this port to actually use it, you would have to destroy it if you were a thief trying to gain access. It is impossible to take this off without destroying the OBD2 port. So the little tool that comes with it, keep it on your keychain or keep it in a safe space. So the next thing we're going to do is install a kill switch for the fuel pump or the starter relay. You can use one, the other, or both. There's a company here in Oklahoma that I will leave the link in the description to all of the stuff that we're talking about here, but there's a company in Oklahoma that offers a kill switch using a key fob. And what it does is it replaces the original relay for the starter or the fuel pump, and you basically have to have the key fob in order to activate it. Anytime it's loss of power, like you turn the car off, within 30 seconds it will rearm itself, basically deactivating the fuel pump relay or the starter relay, whichever place you want to put it. And the only way to make it work is to have that key fob to start it back up. Now, as a precaution, you may want to hide the original one somewhere in your car, something like that, if this ever fails. If for whatever reason the batteries quit working in the key fob or something like that. But this whole system cost about $150 to do, and it's just another layer of security. So if you're in an area that's highly prone to these types of thefts, like Southern California or the Bay Area, California, where so many of these seem to be stolen, this is definitely something that just an added layer of protection. Mobillistics TX111 kit for Toyotas. And you can use it as a starter or a fuel pump relay. For this instance, we are using it as a starter relay, and it has a remote. I paid a little over $150 to also have a second remote programmed. You have to have them programmed when you buy them if you want additional remotes, and it will automatically arm itself. And all you have to do to start the car is hit a button on the remote and then start the car. When you turn the car off, it will arm itself within 3 minutes. And it is as simple as replacing a relay. That's it. Now, the instructions say that some modification may be required to the relay housing. And in my instance for the GS-F, I did not need to do that. It doesn't fit tightly. It doesn't push against it. It just works. So on the passenger side, the US passenger side, the right side, up by the battery, we are looking for the fuse relay housing, and we're looking for the purple relay. So here's our replacement. It looks like a regular relay. It's just a little bit taller. It's not purple. Pull the old one out with your hands. And install the new one. It really is as simple as that. Doesn't start. So then let's press number 1. Kind of a long start, but looks good. One of the things that you can do without doing any of these steps, you actually have access to right here in your factory remote. And there is a step where you can hold the lock, unlock, lock, and then hold the unlock button until the car beeps. It takes a few seconds, and it will basically turn off the transmitting of your factory key fob. Press and hold your lock button, and then press the lock button twice while still holding. And you can see it's flashing. Wait until the car beeps back at you. There you go, and then let go. So what that just did is it disabled the remote. You see that? So it's not broadcasting the signal anymore for people to catch and intercept or amplify to steal your car. All you have to do to reactivate it, just press any button, and now it works. And you can go right back to press and hold, and then press it a second time. Now it's deactivated. Now you'd have to do that to, if you have all 2 of them or 3 of them, how many ever you have, if you have them all in the same location, you're going to have to do this to all of them, because if a thief is looking for the signal from this remote trying to duplicate it, you have to have all of them not transmitting. So if you have your keys close to your door, your car's parked in the driveway, it's still not quite close enough to connect where it allows it to unlock the car, but it's still transmitting a signal. Somebody can take something like a Flipper Zero, which I'm sure you've seen and heard of on the internet. It's basically looking for the 315 megahertz signal. It catches it with the code and fools the car. All you have to do is take it a little closer, fools the car, and it thinks that you have the key. Now, you have to be actually in the car in order to start this. You can't be next to it. And that's something that if a Flipper Zero, if they catch it and it's good enough, long enough, they take it into the car, start the car, and they're out of there. So they can unlock your car and start your car without any other damage. Doing that simple step can disable that part of it. So at least they don't have immediate access to your car, but if they do have a programmer or something where they can have access to your OBD2 port, they can still get in your car. And that's why you see so many of these that have the rear window or the sunroof smashed before they steal it, because they're not going to sit in the glass that they smash on the driver's window things like that. And there is one more step you can take. There is a couple aftermarket options for a remote or for a kill switch that uses the factory cruise control stock. And basically what there is there's a pattern, a certain up, up, down, down, however you want to do it, to unlock and allow the ECU or the fuel pump relay to start. Different ways to approach that, but that's yet another one. I'm not going to do that to this car because I have so many other measures in place. Plus this car sits in a locked, alarmed garage, cameras in it, cameras around it. Like, you know, I don't have any worries in that regard, but it's when I take it out somewhere, if I leave it somewhere for dinner, you know, going to dinner with my wife, something like that. That kill switch version, I will leave in the video description a link to that. There are several options out there for that, but I will just give you some of the ones that I have immediate access to. But I hope this video helps. At a minimum, go do at least a couple of these to prevent. They may be able to break in your car and damage your car, but they won't take your car, which, you know, the numbers on these cars are dwindling. There's so few of them left already, and we're not even 10 years into production. So go take a couple $100s and prevent this from happening. It will save you in the long run. Hopefully keep your insurance lower too, because insurance is already not inexpensive on these cars either. If I end up helping even one person prevent their car from being stolen, then this video was definitely worth the time and effort and the money that was spent on it. So go, please, please, please go do one of these to protect your car from getting stolen. The Canbus, that was more of a thing earlier, but you still see it happen on the GS350s. It is another way they can gain access to start these cars, but primarily right now, here at the end of 2025, it seems like they're going after the OBD2 port. So protect your OBD2 port. That is the most important part of this if you take nothing else away from this video. So thanks again for watching, guys. We'll see you soon.